Tim, I have here an object that I am ridiculously excited about.
Oh, yes?
Actually, I have 6 of them. 6 of these exist, and only 6, and there only ever will be 6. So people may remember an idea I had quite recently, my podcast in a bottle. I'm obsessed with messages in a bottle, the whole concept of messages in a bottle being, floating in the sea for years and being found in faraway places. And I had this idea of recording a podcast and releasing it via bottles. The only way you could listen to it is if you somehow found one of these bottles. Well, a few weeks back now, Tim and I actually recorded an exclusive episode designed only for someone who found a bottle. I've had them put onto these special waterproof rugged USB sticks that I had specially made with Unmade podcast branding. And then I sent them to a guy in Canada called Lucas Clark. He works for Simon Fraser University. People who watch my number file videos will be familiar with him because he's a incredibly talented creator of glass sculptures. He works with a guy called Cliff Stoll making Klein bottles and things in these videos that people may know. But he's an absolute genius with glass. Seriously, watching him blows my mind. And he has made for us 6 bottles, and he has sealed the USBs inside them. He's double sealed them in a glass tube within a bottle around it, and it's all sealed at the top, and it's specially designed to be very hardy to be released in some way. So we have 6 podcasts in a bottle. There'll be pictures and videos in the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see it. But this is a beautiful, beautiful thing to hold and behold. And it exists. It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Stop right now and go to the show notes and have a look because that is absolutely beautiful. That is absolutely magnificent. Now describe, it's in the palm of your hand, so it's sort of a palm hand size, like if you had a couple of big normal light bulbs together or something like that.
It's bigger than a light bulb, smaller than a Coke bottle.
Yeah.
And so it's quite sort of stubby, and it's got like a bottle neck with a lovely round sealed top. Everything's all sealed up. But then through the middle of it, running through the entire length of the bottle, is another glass tube that holds the cylindrical USB firmly in place.
Yes.
It's like it's designed to last hundreds of years maybe.
And it's sealed with glass. He's actually made it airtight.
Yeah. And to look at it, like it's just without joins, it's this pure perfect thing because he's just a wonderful craftsman. He's really thought about it. He's put lots of little design elements into it to make it do what it's supposed to do. So 6 of these exist.
Yes. And where can people buy these, Brady? Where can they get them?
They cannot be bought. But one day you may be walking along the beach and find one in the sand, washed up. So on some desert island?
It's true to say we're giving them away. We're throwing them away. We are. Anyone has an opportunity to find it.
Another thing that I've always been a little bit obsessed with is like treasure and treasure hunts. So it has occurred to me that maybe we could bury one of these or put one of these somewhere and then create like clues and a treasure hunt and a map and like, The world is our oyster here, Tim. We have the prize. Now we've just got to decide where to put them and how to release them.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So how are we going to decide where to put them all, though? I mean, let's say we do that with one of them, but the other 5, are we going to throw them in the ocean, the closest coast and see where they go? Are we going to move around the world and drop them in strategic places?
I think you and I should discuss it. I'm very open to suggestions from people. I'm not going to say on the podcast that I have thrown one in the ocean. I'm not going to say that.
No.
Because people might get, you shouldn't be putting stuff in the ocean. And, I guess they're kind of right. So I'm not saying that I'm doing that.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Fair enough.
All right.
I wonder,
haven't said it.
Seeing that there are 5 then, what about the 5 continents? Can each continent have a fair chance of getting their hands on it?
There are 7 continents, but I like your thinking.
Aren't there only 5? That's why there's 5 rings in the Olympic Games.
Let's see. There's Antarctica and Australia, North America, South America, Asia, Europe, Africa. Is that 7?
No, but they're all connected. They're not continents, are they?
Antarctica hasn't got a ring on the Olympic flag, and I suspect Australia hasn't as well.
But Antarctica's represented by all the white in the background. So that's the snow.
Oh, right. Okay. And what's Australia?
Well, so we're not represented, are we? I don't know. I thought
Are we not? Or do they combine the Americas? I don't know.
they must.
But I
combine
love
the
your
Americas.
idea of putting them on different continents.
I always thought it was like, okay, that sort of there's Africa and then there's America and then there's like the big bit in the middle, which is like Europe and Asia and stuff, and then there's Australia. Oh, that still leaves Antarctica, doesn't it? They're going to have to add more rings.
I love your idea, though, of them being on different continents. That's some good thinking. So have a look at the pictures and the videos, and maybe you will find one. Maybe because of a clue that we drop somewhere sometime, maybe you'll be serendipitously find it. I was going to say what I've done, but what Lucas has done for me, he's also put in there like this strip of metal that's been like laser etched with our logo that says Unmade podcast in a bottle. If found, email. And like, there's an email address there as well for people to get in touch with us. So hopefully, if it is found by a non-listener, which is, is possible that,
there are
if
some
a random
out there,
person in the world is chosen, they don't listen to Unmade Podcast. If it's found by a non-listener, hopefully they might still get in touch with us and we'll know who found it, where they found it.
That's
exciting is this?
It's funny. The thought had not occurred to me before that it could be found by someone who wouldn't be just thrilled to have found it because of the podcast. But of course, there's 6 billion people in the world. That's right.
I'm convinced Colonel Katrina will find it.
She must. Yes, exactly right. And just totally randomly.
All right.
Well, man, that's huge. I know. And we're going to update people that they're out there somewhere from time to time.
Maybe.
Is today the launch?
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, is today
maybe
the launch?
not. Maybe we'll tell people. Maybe we won't. It's all mystery and serendipity and who knows-ness.
Oh, gosh.
But we're very happy at the moment to hear from people with suggestions. As of this minute, none have been released.
No, indeed.
No.
And they are safely in your sock, I can see. You've got one.
This one, I've stored this one in a hiking sock because I took it to the beach the other day to photograph it on the sand.
Oh, right.
So I had to carry it in my pocket.
Yes.
But the rest are in bubble wrap and all sorts. So
just for the record, you will be taking it out of the sock before you throw it in the ocean. Well, no, you're not throwing it.
Maybe. Yeah, who said any were going in the ocean?
No,
I never said that on the podcast.
No. Are you going, they could be released like doves, from the top of a tall building where you just throw them out into the air?
I don't know if Lucas's glass blowing is that good. I don't know if I'd trust them to go from the top of a building. I do like the idea of being released like doves. Or like when people release baby turtles into the sea or something like that. Not that we're putting them in the sea.
No.
But no.
Yeah, with some level of ceremony. That's right. Fantastic. Great work, man. Really great work.
Keep your eyes peeled, people. This is a project I'm excited about, and it is surely the least efficient way to ever release a podcast episode.
Indeed. So you'll be able to get a shortened version of what's available. How many 160 times is it? How many episodes are we up to now?
I think this is 129 of the numbered episodes, but of course we have all specials and bonuses too.
Right. But you'll be the only one who hears it. That's the special thing about it.
Exactly. And for people who are like completionists and like to say, I've listened to every episode, this is a really frustrating piece of knowledge for them. to know there's an episode out there they haven't heard. I'm sorry.
Oh, dear. Wow.
It's a very bespoke episode. It's very directed at the person who finds it. It's a very personal discussion.
It's very, well,
I'm sure Tim can't remember it. He can't remember what he did yesterday.
No, but
what we recorded in this episode.
I do know we recorded one, and we said some specific things. That's right. We went off track a little bit, and some inspirational.
And we sort of
things,
looked to the future, made predictions, all sorts of things about the future. It was made for future.
Well, that's right, because we were thinking it may not be found within the next, few weeks. It may be many decades.
Could be. It could be generations.
Indeed.
Parish Notices. Look, people are always emailing us about previous ideas with things they want to say, suggestions. I just thought I'd mention a couple. Feel free to email us anytime about old ideas and things. We still read them. We still want to hear about what you think. The issue of a hiccups cure continues.
Oh, yes.
We heard from Brandon, who says, I humbly and belatedly submit my family hiccup cure that has been passed down for generations. Now all my friends use it, and even the biggest skeptics have become believers. As you can see in the photos, see attached, I'll have them in all the usual places. The trick is to put a knife into a glass of water and balance the knife on your forehead while you drink the water. That's it.
Well, now this is ridiculous. So you're actually laying with your head back, presumably.
No. You can be normal, upright, sitting, and you're drinking the glass. But imagine that the glass has got like a knife, like a butter knife.
Oh, right.
Like there's no peril here. Like a long object. It could be a spoon, I imagine, as well. And as you drink, you can imagine that spoon in the glass is going to cause you all sorts of difficulty as it gets in the way. So you take the end of that knife and balance it on your forehead while you drink the drink.
Yep.
Right.
Like you've been drinking with a straw, but you missed, and it's just on your forehead.
Yes, and the straws hit your forehead instead, but you've got to keep it pressed there on your forehead, right in the centre. So there's some skill involved.
Now, what benefit would that have?
Well, like so many of these cures, like the ones I've also advocated, such as holding your fingers really, really close together without touching them, I think it involves intense concentration on a task to distract you. Yeah, I think concentration is key. Maybe not breathing as well. Maybe when you're concentrating, your breathing rate changes and that somehow reboots your diaphragm and your hiccups. I don't know. I don't know why it works, but Brandon swears by it. There'll be a picture in the notes if you want to see it in action. Or why don't you try it yourself? You had any hiccup fits lately?
I did. I had the hiccups a few weeks ago, and I was conscious of it. I was going, "Oh, look, here I go. I've got the hiccups." And I was just thinking about it. What a bizarre condition it is. Totally harmless, and yet frustratingly annoying, and doesn't seem to serve any purpose, and just goes away. It's just a bizarre. It's
crazy.
I tell you, it makes the hiccups go away just to sit there and contemplate the hiccups for a while. Like, look, even maybe it's intense concentration, as you say, but even intense concentration on hiccups makes the hiccups disappear.
Yeah,
it is bizarre.
Could be right. Who knows? Anyway, and here's a message from Dave. And this refers to the idea we've discussed about lame superpowers.
Oh, yes.
What's the worst superpower a hero could have? Dave says, "Hi, Tim and Brady. Lean Man. Lean Man is capable of performing Michael Jackson's smooth criminal anti-gravity lean at any time and any place with no props or stagecraft. He can do it for real. It's amazing. With Lean Man around, Annie will be okay."
That's awesome. Lovely idea. And if you've got to look this up if you don't know this, but in the film clip for Smooth Criminal by Michael Jackson and replicated on stage with some clever foot bracing or something like that, he's able to
special shoe
to lean forward and backwards more than 45 degrees, you'd say.
Well, certainly close to that. A gravity-defying angle that looks like he should be falling over. I like the idea of a superhero who just can do Michael Jackson dance moves, like he moonwalks everywhere and like imagine Moonwalk Man. He just moonwalks into the scene and
that's just how he walks. That's his natural walk.
Yeah, that's just how he walks.
Oh, that's nice. Cool.
Is there a dance move that you've always wanted to perfect, or because you're a man of music and pop culture and entertainers and stuff like that? Is there anyone the way they move on stage that you've always been a bit jealous of or wish you could move like that?
Oh, look, there are a few. I mean, in the early days, John Bon Jovi was extremely enthusiastic in his movements around the stage, particularly on the New Jersey tour. But I would say when I was young in the 80s, there was a movie called Electric Boogaloo, which was actually about sort of breakdancing. And there was a guy on there called Turbo, and he could dance like nothing else. And I remember watching that and then dressing a bit like Turbo and trying to do dance moves on the lawn in the backyard because I thought his breakdancing was pretty awesome. But the sort of the piece de resistance of breakdancing, like the ultimate breakdance you can do is the head spin, where you get on your head and spin around. Yeah. And there was a bit of head spinning in Electric Boogaloo, and that was always the one that was the elixir of our primary school who could do a headspin, and of course no one can. And it's very dangerous to do a headspin, but somehow they managed to pull it off in the film.
I remember in my youth, obviously everyone would try to do the moonwalk. Like when that became a thing, everyone would try and do it, and you'd just be walking backwards and not doing it right. But so everyone tried to do the moonwalk. But the other move I remember when breakdancing became a really big thing and everyone was trying to do those moves, the one you would always try to do in the schoolyard or at home was that worm one where you like go along the ground like a worm. No, not the shoulders one, not the arm and shoulders thing that you're doing and I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah.
When you're actually laying on the ground and moving like a worm on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the holy grail for me.
You have to be careful with that because you can face plant the concrete pretty heavily. You have to be careful.
And also at my age, just thinking about it now makes my back hurt.
It's just getting down to start it. It's like, well, why would I go down on the ground like that?
Oh no! As a new dad, I spend a lot of time on the ground now.
Oh
but,
yes,
but doing the worm is always been beyond me and remains beyond me.
Do you do when you're on the ground and then you need to get up? Do you ever do that thing where you're sitting and then you roll back, like you do like a backflip but then flip up? Like do you?
Well, I do this when I'm sitting down. I got called out for this 2 days ago by my wife. When I'm sitting in a chair and I'm slumped down like on a sofa, rather than just like getting up, I pull my legs back, like my knees towards my chest a bit, and then push them out to create the momentum.
Oh yeah.
That sort of pulls me out of the chair. She says I shouldn't do that. It's bad, like it's lazy and not good for my core. But I kind of, you kind of give yourself a bit of a.
I don't know. It looks like an exercise. I reckon that's good. That's like exercise, surely. The trick is to do it from.
I'm not sure.
You could do that. You could do that from the ground though. If you're laying on the ground and your back, and then you're able to flick like that back up onto your feet.
Now, if I'm on the ground, I definitely need to sort of create various areas of momentum to help me up, various pulleys and levers and ropes. The other thing I always do when I get up now that I'm being told to stop because it will teach my son bad habits is making noise, going, oh, every time I get up. Like, I can't get up from anywhere without making that noise. And she doesn't want him to grow up thinking you have to make that noise whenever you stand up. So she says, stop it. He'll start doing it soon.
It's like the tennis grunt or something. It's like you end up, you can't, once you start doing it, you can't stop doing it. And
I know. It's a bad habit. I need to get out of it.
I do it just swiveling on a chair. Oh, all right. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. You're good. You're good at that noise. That's a real trademark of yours, that noise.
Maybe it comes from having a senior citizen as a father all those years.
Speaking of senior citizens, ideas for a podcast. I've got an idea, and it's going to seem a bit macabre at first, but hey, it's been a bit of a theme over the years, actually, isn't it? I have a bit of a fascination with death, and this is sort of a death-related idea.
Oh, good stuff. Love a good death.
Let me tell you where it came from. I was listening to the radio news the other day, and they were talking about the death of the former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi, who died recently.
He did.
And they did the report. And at the end of the report, they said, Silvio Berlusconi, dead at 86. And that's a thing they sometimes do in the media, isn't it? Like this dramatic dead at 74.
Yes.
And I was thinking they don't do it for everyone. It's only sort of certain type of people and a certain type of mood you can get away with that dead at 94.
Yes.
So, it has to be someone who's a bit controversial. It can't be someone who's light and lovely. I can't imagine you doing it for like someone like Lucille Ball or someone like that. It has to be like, a politician or something, or
perhaps someone who's made headlines and then this is like the final full stop or something.
Yeah. And it has to be, and I imagine it being read by like an American news anchor with gravitas, a Dan Rather type character.
Yes.
A former president or something like that. Anyway, I just wrote in my notes from my ideas, dead at 86. That's just written there on my list of notes.
Right.
After I heard it, because I thought there's got to be something in this. I wanted to talk about it. And last night I said, okay, it's time to pull this one off the shelf. And I had my idea, and I love this idea. So I'm calling this idea Dead at 86 as a tribute to Silvio Berlusconi, who's not someone I have a great deal of respect for.
No.
But anyway, he's the guy who caused it. So, and what this is a series of podcast episodes, and each episode is called Dead at and the number. And you talk about people who died at that age, which is always going to be quite a disparate group. And it could be, I mean, you could talk about them and their lives and be biographical, but I do think maybe you would tilt this podcast slightly towards the end of their life and how they died. Just because, I don't know. Otherwise, it's just a series of biographies, isn't it? Would you like to hear some people besides Silvio Berlusconi who died at 86?
Yes.
Okay. This is not a complete list, obviously, because there's millions of them, but
No,
this isn't even a complete list of the famous ones.
Then I've got one for you. Yes.
Got Claude Monet, painter, James Garner, the actor, Ed McMahon, Sir Alec Guinness, Ben Kenobi, Ivan Pavlov of the Pavlov experiment fame, Nikola Tesla, James Cagney, Charles Messier, who Tim might not have heard of, but people who watch my videos may have, because he's the astronomer who made the Messier catalogue of objects in space.
I know his name. He's been mentioned somewhere before.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've talked about him before, that's for sure. Jacques Chirac,
Oh, yeah.
former president of France, Groucho Marx, John Nash, the mathematician, economist, beautiful mind fame, and Hank Aaron, one of the most famous names in baseball.
Well, there you go.
So there you go. You could talk about them dead at 86. I'm not sure how all of them died, but I do know how John Nash died, and that was kind of interesting. He went to Europe to get a big mathematics prize, him and his wife,
Yeah.
I was going to say in old age, at the age of 86. And then he flew back to New York and was going back to his home in Princeton in New Jersey, and the taxi driver had a crash, and him and his wife weren't wearing seatbelts apparently and were thrown out of the car.
Oh,
Very tragic.
I have someone else who died at 86.
Yeah?
Someone that you know well, Jerry Hine, my father.
Amazing. I did wonder, it did occur to me, I wonder if Jerry died at like 86 or how old he died. I was going to ask you how old he died and look up the list of people, but there you go. I already have, and I've already read it.
You did. It was
Amazing.
Yeah, in fact, we had
What a coincidence.
He died a few days before his birthday, and we had his funeral on his 86th birthday, which we had a nice connection.
So did he make it to 86 then?
No, just a few days beforehand. We had the funeral on his 86th birthday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he died at 85 then?
Oh, well, technically, yes, and a few days, yes. And 2 days, I think it was.
Hang on. Let's look at people who died at 85. I've got a list up here. Let me see. Edmund Halley of Halley's Comet fame, who famously died before he got to see the comet again. James Madison, Agatha Christie, David Prowse, Darth Vader, John Madden, Pope Pius IX, Daniel Boone.
It's not an amazing crowd, is it, man?
It's not bad.
The 86
That's
is
not bad.
bigger. The 85 is like the guy who played Darth Vader.
Well, there you go. That's kind of a big deal. I met David Prowse a couple of times.
Oh, there you go.
So the younger ages are always a little bit more fascinating,
Yes.
if not so well populated. A seminal episode, of course, would be the famous 27,
Indeed.
which has gone into folklore now. We're looking at. Do you want to name some of the people who died at 27, Tim? You'll know a few.
Oh, yes. You got Janis Joplin and Jim Morrison and Kurt Cobain.
Yep.
And I
Yes.
feel like I'm missing one more.
You're missing two that you might know.
Ooh. Who else is in the 27 club? It's not James Dean. He was young, but a different
No.
age. He's not that 27 club. They're musicians.
We've got Jimi Hendrix
Yes, of course. Yes, Jimi Hendrix.
and one more. This is a woman.
We've got, I said Janis Joplin, another woman. I don't know. British.
More recent and British.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Back to Black. What's her name? That's the album name. But her name is... Insert edit here.
Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse. That's right. Yes. Ah, geez, I loved her voice.
And just another bonus one. Joseph, or better known as John Merrick, known more widely as the Elephant Man.
Oh, right.
Also died
Okay.
at 27.
Oh dear. Yeah, that club.
Yeah.
Well, that is a significant one. Tragically, and
30. At 30, we've got Jeff Buckley, Sylvia Plath, Emily Bronte, and Patsy Cline.
well, that's quite a collection of people, isn't it? I remember the day Jeff Buckley died. Yeah.
Do you want to give me another age, and I'll tell you who's on the list?
Go 40 then. What about 40? Who made it to
40? Okay, let's have a look at 40. Come on, internet. Here we go. John Lennon, Paul Walker, of Fast and Furious fame, Paula Yates,
Oh,
Edgar
right.
Allan Poe, Glenn Miller, Lenny Bruce, John Coltrane, Alexander McQueen, Franz Kafka. That's quite a list too.
It is a list, yes. Unless it's immediate or random, you do think like a car crash or something. You do think, okay, 40, they've lived a little bit. You know, when they're famous, there's often drugs attached to it or something like that, and the stats start to go up. It would be interesting to talk to a statistician about where are the most people dying, not just the average, length of a life, but are there numbers, is 27 a time when more musicians die, or is it just that we know there's a few noticeable ones and that's a coincidence, and you know what I mean? But what causes at what age occasion death by certain people in certain walks of life?
I'll tell you an age I want to look up, 99, because I think there's something a little bit tragic about just falling short of 100.
I know one, George Burns, the comedian. I'm pretty sure he died.
he went past 100.
No.
He did. I remember. Here we go. Zsa Zsa Gabor, Betty White, Golden Girls, Prince Philip, of course.
Yes.
And here's one for you, Billy Graham.
Yes, that's right. And he was very close, I think, even just a few days.
No, he was still about 200 days, over 200 days short. Right. Yeah. Betty White was very close. Betty White was a week away from turning 100.
I thought George Burns died at 99, and then they just sort of held it over until he was 100, or the news, or they pretended.
What do you mean they held it over?
Well, like they didn't tell us or something, or was it him or was it Frank Sinatra? No, Frank Sinatra didn't live that long. George
Burns died at the age of 100.
Yeah.
He'd been 100 for 2 months.
I wonder if... I thought we had a conversation about this, that we wondered conspiratorially whether he had really died at 99, but actually it was only we were only told of his death afterwards to pretend.
You reckon? You reckon they did a bit of Weekend at Bernie's?
Yes, indeed. I don't know how or why. I don't know what the motive would have been apart from, that's a nice round figure to die on. But I have some feeling we had a conversation.
I don't remember, but I'm sure they rolled him out on his 100th birthday for the media. I don't know. Maybe they didn't. I can't remember. I remember him turning 100. I remember it was a big deal.
Right. Okay. All right.
Okay. What do you think of my podcast idea?
Oh, look, yeah. No, I love this sort of thing. Yeah, I'm deeply fascinated by death as well. I find it really, really interesting. And, yeah, like I said, going into some of the patterns and causes would be interesting as to how and why do heart attacks strike at a particular age or particular peoples in particular walks of life, that sort of thing. Yeah, it's interesting. Nice. Good idea. Solid idea.
Well, Tim, let's talk about something that will never die, and that's my love for Hover.
Yes, nice.
Hover are our episode sponsor, the domain registrars that we know and love and talk about all the time. Go to hover.com/unmade. Check them out. You'll get what's the discount you get?
Isn't it 10% or is it 15%?
You're going to get 10% off your first purchase when you do that. If you have any reason to register domains for now or the future, Hover is the place to do it. I've got a whole big collection of them registered with Hover. I know Tim does as well. Fantastic service, easy to use. There are so many reasons to register a domain too. You know, it could be like business, it could be like proper work stuff, or it could just be something fun you want to do. You know, Tim's 50thbirthday.com. If you've got plans for your birthday and you want to send that link to all your friends so they can get the details and stuff like that. It could be like just little personal ideas, little pet projects. You could create a website for photos of all the Lego you've been building. It could be, bradyslego.com is where I post all my pictures of Lego models and stuff. I'm just thinking of random stuff now. Let's have a look what's available on Hover at the moment. You got anything you want to register, Tim?
No, I mean, I was impressed. At work recently, we had some people do a big review that took many months. And I was sort of asking them at the start, is there an email address that people can send their information to? And he's like, actually, we're going to create a whole purpose-built website just for this review. And it's like, what a brilliant idea. Of course, yes.
Yeah,
so if you just got you're doing a big project, it's like, here we go. Yeah.
And it's just something memorable to say, Go, by the way, if you want to have a look at these documents I've been talking about, go to, thebigreview.com or whatever you register at the time. It's a great idea. It's not super expensive. It's 10% less expensive if you use hover.com/unmade. You could do timssnowholiday.com where Tim could do pictures from his recent snow holiday that we're going to talk about later in the show. Who knows? timssnowholiday.com is available, by the way.
There you go.
$14.99.
Not for long. Wow.
So anyway, great service, really easy to use website. It's easy to move domains if you've got them with another registrar, to move them over to Hover where they're easier to use. That's an easy process too. There's instructions on the site. They make it absolutely foolproof. I've done it numerous times. And it is something that could be complicated if it wasn't well explained. Hover make it easy. They're a great service. They're a great business, and they're a great supporter of the show. So we're thankful to them.
timssnowholiday.tattoo is available on sale. Whew. That's one to get.
I don't think you're going to need .tattoo for you.
People are going to... Well, there will be where people can post their pictures, and I will display them, of tattoos people got to honour my snow holiday. You wait till they hear about the snow holiday.
They got a holiday. All right. Now, it's usually around this time of the show we give away some prizes to our Patreon supporters. Go to patreon.com/unmadefm if you'd like to become one. We've got these leather key rings, the Australian nut, which is the colour of the leather. These are Unmade Podcast Australian nut leather key rings that are wonderful. You received yours recently, didn't you? What did you think?
Oh, loving it. I've got it right. Oh, no. I say I've got it right here. I don't. I've used my wife's keys to come along tonight, so I literally don't have it here. But I love it. It's on my key ring.
Why is your wife not using it?
Well, because I gave one to my daughters and I kept one, and I happened to... In fact, I opened my mail near Colonel Katrina, and so she got one, and that was it. They're all gone.
They're all gone. I'll have to send you some more. Although if you and your wife have the same key ring, that's probably not a good idea.
No, that's what I thought.
An accident waiting to happen.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah. She's got this big, like fluffy gorilla thing, which would drive me nuts to have something that massive on my key ring. But
that's crazy.
It's
that's crazy.
Helpful to see how key noise there. It's helpful to see that they're not my keys when I see keys there, even if they're near my hook.
That is good. Anyway, 4 of our Patreon supporters are going to receive one in the post. They've been chosen using our special algorithm, which is random, but slightly advantages longer term and more generous supporters, because that's kind of seems fair, doesn't it, in some ways? But everyone's a chance. Everyone's a chance. And the 4 people who are receiving them this week are... Tim, do you want to do the honours?
Congratulations to Alexander G. from Surrey in the UK, William from Campbell in California, Hugo from Norway. I love that Hugo doesn't have a last name. He's just Hugo. Everyone knows Hugo in Norway. And Drew, everyone knows Drew from Rome. Oh, Rome, New York. There you go.
Yeah, Rome, New York. These people do have surnames. I just don't read them out in the podcast, because basically if people found out they had an Unmade Podcast keyring in their house, that would be a security risk, because these are desirable objects. So I want to sort of protect their identity a little bit.
Fair enough too, yes. But there's something about Hugo from Norway. Everyone in Norway's going, oh, well done, Hugo.
They all know who they are, unless we've got 18 Hugos from Norway who are all Patreon supporters, which I think is highly unlikely.
There was a Drew in Rome, Italy, who was disappointed halfway through my last sentence, though. There was...
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, Drew from Italy, but it's Drew from New York who's getting it. Wrong Rome. Tim, have you got an oon of the week for us?
I do. It is time.
Would you like to sing it? Would you like to sing it to me?
For afternoon of the week. And today's afternoon of the week is Saturday afternoon, which is a wonderful afternoon.
Saturday afternoon.
It is.
Is Saturday afternoon the best afternoon?
It's a good afternoon.
Friday afternoon's pretty good.
Friday afternoon's good because you're finishing off work, except I have it as a day off. So Saturday afternoon for me is getting towards the end. And the other day on a Saturday afternoon, it was a bit overcast and I was sitting on the couch reading. There were long sort of shadows and there was billowy winds outside. And I thought, oh, geez, I love Saturday afternoon. So
I guess as a preacher and a man who works on Sunday, Saturday afternoon is your Sunday afternoon.
Well, that's true. Although I do love, I'm quite partial to a Sunday afternoon too, because you come home tired, you've done church and stuff, and then it's like, oh, here we go now, and it's kind of a decompressing kind of time, and it's often sunny on a Sunday afternoon. I don't know why, but I'm sure the weather's evenly paced across the days of the week, but it feels like it's sunny on more Sunday afternoons, whereas Saturday afternoon's more cold and blustery. That's tradition.
Okay.
So
is Saturday afternoon your favourite afternoon?
I think it probably is. Yes, I do like Saturday afternoon.
What are you most likely to be doing on a Saturday afternoon?
Generally, something with the family. Saturday mornings are pretty sacrosanct. Everyone's doing their own thing and read the paper quiet. But by the time we get to the middle of the day and into the afternoon, we'll be doing something together. We'll be off for a walk, or maybe we're doing a bit of shopping or walking the dog or something like that. It's nice. But if you got plans Saturday night, it's like, oh, cool, we're getting ready to go out with our plans. But even better if you don't have plans, because it's like, oh, nothing on tonight. Fantastic. You can just sort of relish and lean back into the afternoon even more.
There's a good chance there'll be sport as well that you can watch.
Yes, there is. Although I feel like the sports I watch are more evening because they're in other parts of the world, or just a lot of football's on at night now. The cricket's been on at night.
Also, in the UK, they're not allowed to show Premiership football on Saturday afternoon. Although lots of games are played, they're not allowed to have it on the TV here because it would affect attendances for all the other games and the other leagues, lower leagues and stuff. So it's a strange historical quirk that I always think they're going to do away with, but they haven't yet. So there's not a lot of Premiership football to be watched on a Saturday afternoon in the UK. Because they want to encourage you to be go to the games, go to the grounds.
It is a lovely thing to go to the football on a Saturday afternoon. That's one of my favourite things to do. I used to do that more in Melbourne than in this stage of life. Wander down to the football because you look forward to it all morning, and then it's by the time you finish in the evening, it's like dinner time and it's dusk. There's a lovely. I'm thinking later in the afternoon, I have to say. Early Saturday afternoon does nothing for me. It's more later in the afternoon. No. Like
what time is this? Does the sweet spot start?
I think around it's about 10 or 15 past 4. That's a nice time.
Oh, that's late.
Yes.
That's late afternoon.
Oh yeah.
What time does afternoon start? I mean, obviously afternoon probably, but like 12:01 doesn't feel like afternoon to me.
No,
I think it has to be 1:30.
Yeah, well, it's different on different days. I think on Saturday the afternoon doesn't start till well after 1. That's right, getting maybe around 2. But then it continues on into when does Saturday night start? But
there's also Saturday evening, which is before Saturday night.
Oh, that's true. That's right. Saturday late afternoon, evening, and then Saturday night. Gee, there's a lot on Saturdays, isn't there?
Oh yeah. So, but this is an interesting discussion point. If you have a theory on what time afternoon starts, let us know. In your head, when does afternoon start? And don't just say afternoon, because that's like too easy. Another thing that reminds me of one of my wife's favourite teasing points about Australia is how we shorten words. And of course, afternoon is a big favourite of Australians. We would never say afternoon in Australia.
No, it's Arvo. Yeah.
No, it's Arvo.
Saturday Arvo. Yeah.
Saturday Arvo. ARVO. Arvo.
Arvo. Yeah.
I'll see you in the Arvo.
I forget that that's not an international way of speaking, but yes, all of these things.
No, it's not part of the... No, it is. It's part of the phonetic alphabet. So, Arvo, Bravo, Charlie. Arvo, Bravo. Could you pick a worse word?
Yeah. Do you have... I mean, we don't want to talk about any others because it's Saturday afternoon is what this episode is about. But
yeah,
is it? What do you think of Saturday afternoons? Are you a big fan of it?
No, I think I'm more of a Sunday afternoon guy.
Oh, okay.
Saturday afternoon just feels like I don't know. It's like the weekend hasn't really got going yet, but you're already thinking about it ending. It's just like an awkward time. It's like a...
Is it like the Wednesday of the afternoon because it's like in the middle?
Yeah, it's the Wednesday of the weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, Saturday afternoon is the Wednesday of the weekend. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's what we should start calling Saturday afternoons. Oh, it's a weekend Wednesday.
Except unlike the week, like Wednesday is sort of like you're hoping for the end of the week, but with the weekend you're not hoping, you're dreading it. So it's even worse than Wednesday because you're sort of dreading the end.
Whereas, like, by Sunday, although the weekend is closer to being over, you can kind of look back and think what a good weekend it's been. You know, I've had a weekend. It's been good. You know, stuff's happened.
Yeah, you haven't got the fear
all the stuff hasn't happened yet, but it already feels like it's over.
I know some people feel really apprehensive if they don't have plans for Saturday night. I love not having plans. My plans are to have no plans. But you know what I mean? If there's like, I haven't been invited somewhere or, you know, it can be quite threatening. I'm here alone. I'm home alone. I've got nothing to do. Whereas that's, this stage of life, that's bliss. That's marvelous.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And like, I'm definitely at a point now where every night you're constantly thinking, is it too early to go to bed? Can we legitimately go to bed yet? And not feel ashamed?
Oh, that's great.
I reckon I was in bed at 8:30 last night.
Going to bed is like the Friday afternoon of the day. Like it's that zone of the day. Can you it's that feeling of it's the end?
Yeah.
The day is nearly done.
Yeah, the world is your oyster.
I can do what I want. I'm laying here. I'm relaxing. I'm reading.
Got hours of sleep ahead of me. Yet hours.
Sleep is the weekend of the day.
I'm gonna feel so good tomorrow morning after all this sleep. It's gonna be the best. Tomorrow's gonna be great.
Oh, that's great. Saturdays when I was a kid there was a lot of jobs to be done, a lot of tasks. So they were all pleasurable, but it was like mow the lawn and in the garden and lots of garden work and all that kind of stuff going on. But you got to the end of Saturday afternoon and things are being hosed down and finished up and dinner's nearly ready. And then Mum would call that it's Tina time, which meant that it's Young Talent Time was on TV with Tina Arena. And I always look forward to that. And then I'd run in and watch that.
Tina time. All right, there we go. Moving on, instead of an idea from Tim this week, we're going to have a bit of a what I did in my holidays, because Tim, you've been away recently. There's going to be photos on screen and videos if you're watching on YouTube, and there'll be stuff in the notes. Tim, tell us what you did first.
Well, you know how there's two different types of holiday. There's the big special holiday, and then there's the thing we do every year holiday. And this mid-year holiday is the thing we do every year. It's July, and which is winter, of course, in Australia. So we've been to the snow. So we had a fantastic time.
All right. Where did you go?
We go to a central part of Victoria, and then there are several snowfields around there, and we went up to Mount Hotham to the snowfields there. And it's fantastic. We're not big skiers. We're not sort of go stay in a Swiss lodge and then come out and ski all day long like James Bond sort of holiday people. It's more like, relax and then drive up the mountain and get in the toboggan and build a snowman and have lots of fun and all that kind of stuff and then head down again. And we do that multiple days. And yeah, we had a fantastic time.
Showing how well I've trained Tim, Tim took his audio recorder along. So we've got some bits of audio to play for you. We've got a few bits. Here's part one.
Here we've arrived at the snow. It's, quite obviously cold. We're out at a place called Mount Hotham, which is the snow country in Victoria, the southern state of Australia. And Mount Hotham is a common ski resort. We've gone past the ski resort. We're not staying in one of those fancy resorts. We've gone past it to a place called Dinner Plains, which is like a more general area for skiing and tobogganing and all that kind of stuff. And it's fun. We're here with another family. And so everyone's getting out of the cars and getting their stuff on and rugging up nicely. And all the way up, people saying things like, I forgot my gloves, Mum. And, hey, will I really need to wear these tights? And all that kind of stuff. Once we've gotten here and gotten out of the car, It's one of those situations where suddenly it's proven correct. Everyone's like, oh, hang on, I need more than I thought I didn't need when we left our little apartment down on the flat. I'm looking around the car park. It's not as snowy as last year. Last year, this car park was covered in snow as well, but not this year. It's just all asphalt, but then there's snow around the edges, so they've scraped it well. And there's luscious snow, beautiful everywhere. Trees poking out, sort of Australian gum trees, these eucalyptus, beautiful Australian trees that are everywhere poking out of the snow. And there's a little kiosk here where I'll be availing myself of some hot donuts that I remember they had last year. Then just beyond that is this main slope, and people are coming down the slope and walking up the slope and walking up the side and on the ski lift, and it's your pretty standard kind of snow scene, to be honest. It's hard to pick out something unique, apart from the fact that we're here. That's the unique bit, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get over onto the snow and see if we can get some lovely snow sound effects. Here we go. Pretty compacted, actually, but there's... And I'm puffed out already. This is you forget how much energy you exert all day in the snow. Whoa, that leg has fallen into the first, what is it, quicksand? Quick snow? When you press on something light and it turns out to be a massive deep hole up to your knee. I'm a disaster in the snow, to be honest. I just basically just breathe heavily and try and survive, and then look forward to the warm, dry home. But there's something gleeful about being here as well. It's a lady. I think it's the fact that, everyone's here for nothing but fun. There's nothing to be achieved here except a glorious day of fun and freezing cold. So those two things, pure hell and total bliss, are somehow combined here. That's what going to the snow is. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's hell. Both at the same time. Anyway, back to the car because my hand's freezing over holding the recorder.
So, Tim, I noticed there you referred to big, lush snow, and you were almost impressed by the snow. And then I saw the pictures, and, I've been skiing in Australia.
Yes.
And Australian snow isn't particularly impressive. And this wasn't massively impressive snow, if you ask me. This is like, this is pretty half-baked. It was fun and good, and you could, play around in it, but I think you need to sort of recalibrate what good snow is.
Well, I think there was a sense of getting out of the car and going, oh, here's snow again, having not seen it for a long time and being overwhelmed because it's very joyful snow. I know it's not like Christmas morning in the UK when there's a big blanket of powdery snow.
UK's rubbish for snow. I'm not bigging up the UK, but like if you go to somewhere like Switzerland or Austria or something, it's sort of a different.
Yeah.
Have you ever been like to mega snow?
No. Well, no. I've only been to. Have I been anywhere else? No, only other places in Victoria as a kid and that sort of area. I've not been to the snow overseas. Right. Generally, if I go overseas, it's in the like it's summer over there. So
summer,
yeah.
No. The other thing I love about like your pictures and video, and the thing that I love about Australian snow, is there's snow on the ground, but there's gum trees everywhere. There's like eucalyptus trees everywhere, like, which is quintessentially Australian scenery to me. And there's something really jarring about these dry Australian trees that I associate with dry climates and Australian hot days. And then seeing the white on the ground, it's always really jarring seeing snow and eucalyptus trees together. Yes,
you were more readily picture a bushfire or something like that raging through. It is beautiful, and I didn't send you on the way up on the drive. There's some incredible vistas, just absolutely glorious. But again, it's gum trees and it's the Australian countryside and so forth. But then blankets of snow, which is absolutely gorgeous. We go through this to this place that we go back to each time, which we really like, which is a smaller kind of area. It's more suitable for kids and so forth, and is more readily accessible. It's less like the massive ski lifts and things. But there is a ski lift there, and we have a lot of fun there. We feel a bit of ownership over this little patch.
I was sent a picture of you in sort of cold weather outfit, and you were wearing these very tight tights. And I found it really disconcerting to look at. I was having that kind of sexy Flanders moment from The Simpsons, seeing Tim sticking his bum out in these tights. It had a strange effect on me, that photo.
It allows for maximum mobility. Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all.
Stupid sexy Flanders!
This year I was convinced by my wife several months beforehand, in quite warm climate here in Adelaide, to go out and buy snow gear when it was on sale. And I was resistant, but it was good planning. But getting the snow pants was a strategic move. And then being convinced that just having these beautifully slender, comfy tights underneath would be sufficient and very comfortable.
It was like thermal underwear, was it?
Yeah, they're kind of like, not quite underwear, but they're just sort of, I don't know what they're called. They're just tights. They're the thing you wear underneath, snow pants.
Yeah.
And oh, they're amazing. Once you put them on, you don't want to take them off. I could just be prancing around the house in them all day long, to be honest.
Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all.
Oh, stop it, man. Anyway, shall we go to part 2 of Tim's audio? Here's some more of Tim's ski trip.
Well, we're sitting here on the sidelines of the slopes. My little snow conspirator, co-snow-spirator and we've been doing one of the highest forms of snow activity. Really, you start with snowboarding, move on to skiing, and at the very top, for the very elite, is tobogganing. We've been tobogganing this morning. Oh, it's been marvellous. And now we're just taking a rest here. I've got the Thermos, which is lovely, with a beautiful cup of tea, which is warming the insides very, very lovelily. It's a beautiful day, isn't it?
Yep.
What do you like most about coming to the snow?
The snow.
You like the snow?
Yeah.
Without the snow, coming to the snow would be underwhelming, wouldn't it? Yep. Do you like the hard snow that you can slide on, or do you like the soft, powdery snow that you crunch on?
Powdery snow, definitely.
Do you like walking in the snow?
Yeah.
Do you like walking uphill after having tobogganed all the way to the bottom?
No.
Good answer. There is a ski lift here, a small ski lift for those that are skiing, but when you're over on the elite tobogganing slope, they don't provide for that. They presume you're at such peak physical condition that it's okay for you to drudge all the way up to the top under your own steam. Just take another sip of tea now. Why not? It's beautiful. It's just all part of the sounds. I think if this was a movie, then it would be a hot cup of cocoa or something. That's what they say in American films, don't they? But we would have Milo, but we didn't bring Milo. We brought tea. One of the more devastating aspects of this trip is we've now realised that the place that sells the hot jam donuts is shut for renovations. They're building on. And, well, the level of disappointment is unbelievably high. In fact, if the donuts had been here but the snow hadn't, we would have been less disappointed having driven to the top of the mountain. One of the funniest things about recording in the snow with this little handheld Zoom recorder is that it has a fluffy thing on top, like the which is technically called, I think, a pop shield. But this is like, if you can imagine a microphone, on the TV shows, they have a boom, which has like fluffiness on there, which stops some of the noises ruining the sound. I've got one of those on the top of my recorder. Holding it out in front of me, though, of course, it just, looking around the snowfields, there's a whole range of similar shaped objects, which is small children with big fluffy sort of beanies on with pompons, and so it just looks like there's a whole slope of Zoom recorders just sliding around and walking around hand in hand with their parents. It's very funny. Well, massive news, it's just come through that actually there is a small little window on the other side of the lodge where they are selling food. So we're quickly moving around here. Now I can see a flag there. This is very exciting. We're hustling across as quick as we can. One can only hope that they do have the donuts. Let's have a look. Come inside. Thank goodness, we thought you were shut.
No,
Oh, wonderful. Have you got the hot donuts?
just there.
Oh, hello. Hey, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good stuff. Hot donuts, please.
What was that, sorry?
Hot donuts? You got the hot jam
yeah,
donuts?
of course. How many would you like to have?
Do you sell them in certain amounts or
Yes, single or a pack of 4?
pack of 4?
I don't like it with jam in it.
Too bad. I'll have yours.
Anything else?
Not for the moment, thanks, no. Awesome. Well, $11 for 4 donuts, but we're not going to complain now, are we? Oh, here they are. Fantastic. Marvellous. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Tim, I'm Susie.
Oh, yeah, yes, so you are. How
are you?
Hello, I'm good.
Good.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I
that's a
said
coincidence.
see you in Bright. She laughed at me.
Oh, right. Yes, as Brady will say, typical, we've run into some people that we know, despite being in Victoria. Donuts!
Of course, Tim bumps into someone he knows. Or you cannot go anywhere with Tim without him bumping into someone he knows. The thing I want to talk about, though, is your thermos. And I thought this immediately, and then you did touch upon it yourself. When I heard that lovely thermos sound and you opening your thermos in the cold snow, and then you said you were drinking tea, my heart sank. That is hot chocolate all the way. You don't drink tea in the snow. Like, tea's not snow drink.
No,
Okay.
no. Well, this is my wife's fault. But she takes a big, massive thermos of tea, it seems, every time she leaves the house because she just loves tea and drinks it by the gallon every day.
Right.
I would have liked Milo myself. Certainly when I got back to the hotel, it was Milo all the way, which is...
Yeah.
Now, is Milo known overseas? Milo's like... I know we've talked about it
Yeah,
before.
it's like a hot
chocolate.
It's a malty. Yeah, I think people know Milo by now. It's a malty hot chocolate style drink. Tim's mum is an expert at making it.
Legendary. She wasn't there to make the Milo.
No. No.
And not even the Milo would have justified her presence, I'm afraid.
No.
On this trip. But I certainly had lots of Milo, really enjoyed it, but up there. The tea was satisfying because it was warm, but I do know what you mean. It didn't quite hit the spot.
Just a quick note on your interview technique as well when you were trying to get some sound bites out of one of your daughters. You know, I don't want to tell you how to suck eggs, man, but we've got to work on your interview technique. Never ask questions that can be answered with a yes or a no,
Oh, indeed.
especially if you're interviewing a kid. Yeah. No yes or no questions.
No, they need to be...
Because you will get a yes or a no.
No, indeed. It needs to be an open question. I learned that as a shop
Yeah.
attendant in Sanity Music. You always ask a question that leads to them telling you which CD they're looking for so you can buy it, and I needed to draw upon those skills. But, yes, there was some hesitancy and nervousness, I must say.
But what a moment when you found out you could get the donuts.
Oh.
You must have been so happy.
Oh, man, I can't tell you. Yeah, because we've been that's part of what we're looking forward to is being up there and being so freezing cold that the donuts are so amazing.
Yeah.
So realizing the little tiny shop was open was glorious. It was magnificent.
I'm not eating sweet stuff at the moment, so tell me about what the donuts were like.
It was
Spare me no detail.
like I can't tell you. Like afterwards, after I'd finished, I looked down at my hands and there was so much sugar on them. It was like I'd had snow in my hands. Actually, that's why it didn't look very convincing as snow. That was all sugar out there, man. We were just prancing around, rolling around, making a little sugar man with a little carrot. That's how awesome
They're
it was.
delicious though. And was like, what was the jam like? What was it like when you hit the
Good.
jam in
Hot,
the middle?
Hot, like, ooh, that's hot. Beautiful. Yep, just
Nice.
exploded in my mouth.
Stupid sexy Flanders!
What was the crispiness? How crispy were they?
Not too crispy. No, just nice and soft. And you know, we sort of, I got several, and so everyone sort of took one, and then there was one left sitting in the
Oh,
bag.
you didn't get the 4 just for you?
No. But there was one left in the bag. And then I was talking to someone and chatting and so I'm being polite all the time. And my mind's like, hey, that donut's down there in the corner of my eye on the table, you know, like, and so I'm talking to the person, but just thinking about the donut. So I just sort of did one of those casual, just stretch over here and pick up this and, here we go, nom, 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 and just plowed into the donut.
So how many donuts did you have on the whole trip?
We only had that bag full, so no, not many. We didn't get any more.
What?
Yeah, no, that's it.
You didn't go back on a subsequent day and get them again?
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. No. Sorry, man.
Okay.
Sorry. Did you want me to post you some donuts.
No.
Hot donuts. I'm a big hot donut. I don't like cold donuts. Cold donuts don't do much for me.
What about a Krispy Kreme?
No. They're all sweet and they don't do
no.
anything for me. Hot donuts are where it's at.
A hot donut after the footy. Oh, yeah, that's good.
Heading home from the footy, heading home from the show or something like that. The Royal Adelaide show. Inhaled.
Okay, it's time to hit the slopes. Here's part 3. And there will be some video accompanying this too, so make sure you go and have a look at the great man in action on the slopes.
Well, it's hard to capture the sheer monotony involved in walking along up a hill with a toboggan dragging behind you. All right, we're reaching the top here. I'm going to attempt to both film and record one of the most beautiful and elite sports in the Winter Olympics. Free tobogganing. Avoiding little kids. It's one of the main points of the sport. And not hitting a tree being the other main point. Alright. So I'm standing at the top of the hill. I'm looking out over... It is the Victorian High Country, which is absolutely beautiful. In the some natural dogs nearby, as you can hear. Gum trees. Above the gum trees, I can see the hills. Surrounding, above that, the beautiful blue sky. And above that, the clouds. So the cloud covering in, but there's a gorgeous horizon. Imagine the Swiss Alps, but a lot smaller and with gum trees. All right, kid in front of me who has a hawthorn beanie has gone. Going to have the glove on one hand. I'm going to steer with my other hand. And I'm going to turn on the iPhone. I've never felt less graceful than this. All right, there's the front view. Whoa! Whoa! Over a jump, round, bends around. Okay, I'm going backwards. All right, that was unsuccessful. Quickly, gotta remount, is it? Re-engage onto the toboggan. All right, here we go. This is pretty nice. And if I go this way, hang on, I will take out this guy. Whoop, 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 whoop. Sorry, mate. Whoop. Back again. Well, you can see why they call it the most elite of all sports in the snow. Sure, they'll make a film about this. Cool runnings. Oh, this kid seems to be doing a hell of a lot better than me. Oh.
So there you go. How would you describe your tobogganing technique, Tim?
Elegant.
Elegant?
Closer to ballet, I think, than anything else. Ooh. Look, it's... I mean, what do? You get in a toboggan, it goes straight down to the bottom, you get off again. I mean, it's...
I have to say, all the pictures and videos I saw, and this is not... I'm not casting aspersions on your physique, Tim. I know you're wearing lots of padded gear because you're in the cold. But I did get a lot of beached whale vibe from you on the toboggan.
They're three.
Like I half expected to see people throwing buckets of water over you and trying to push you back into the sea.
3/4 of the way through, there was like a hump, and it was as I'm so you're coming down the big slope, and then it sort of evens off a little bit, and so you're just like, oh heck, I got to get over that hump, and I wasn't totally successful. All the little kids were flying over it, no problems. I don't know what was going on with me, but yes.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Any other reflections on your ski trip? Any plans for the future? Things you wish you did differently?
No, although I have to say, I am tempted by the skiing or the snowboarding. You know, I've avoided it and kind of been proud to avoid it a little bit. But part of me is like, you know what? I wouldn't mind going up and learning one of those. I've been advised that skiing's a better one, that snowboarding is just you end up on your bum or your face over and over and over again, although that feels like the one I'd be more used to because of skateboarding and surfing. But you've done a bit of skiing, haven't you?
I've skied a few times. I'm not very good. My sister and brother-in-law are very good, and they're usually who I go skiing with, and that makes me feel even worse, going with people who are really good and who think I should be able to do it with them. So when you get going, when you're going down the hill and the sensation of speed and that, it is a lovely experience, but I spend a lot of it planted in the snow. It's something I haven't done enough. I'm going to the snow this Christmas. Maybe I'll try again this Christmas. Well, stay tuned for next year's ski holiday when maybe Tim will record audio of himself going down the hill on skis. Some more news. This is sad news. I've left it to the end of the episode because I didn't want to be a downer from the start. And people who follow me on Instagram, I think, might already know this, but a huge part of my life, and a big part of my online life too, for various reasons, has been Audrey the Chihuahua, much loved. And I'm very sad to report that Audrey has passed away. She died a couple of weeks ago. We were very upset about it. We're still very upset. Very sad news. And I thought, because she's talked about so often on all these podcasts and she appears in videos and things like that, I probably should mention it in this sort of public forum. So I'm really sad to report that. She had an operation and there were some complications afterwards and we lost her. So absolutely devastated, but really, really grateful for the time we had with her and all the memories and the many, 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 many photos of her that we took. So... yeah, I'm sorry to have to report that, but I just thought some people might want to know.
Yes.
Rest in peace, Audrey.
Very sad news. Very sad news. Perhaps the most photographed dog in history, would you say?
She's up there. She's up there. She was photographed many times. But Tim, let me tell you, I've had another podcast idea, and it's not like a full-blown idea. It's just something I've been thinking about, like that podcasts don't do, that maybe we could start to pioneer or someone could pioneer.
Yeah.
And that is the fade out. Because I was listening to some 80s music, like every song on Brothers in Arms, one of my favourite albums, rather than a song ends with the fade out. The song just has something that repeats and fades and fades and fades and fades until it fades to nothing. And it seemed like in the 80s, all songs seemed to end with fade outs, it felt like. That was just like the fashion or the style. And then it just stopped. And so I remember when songs first started just ending again and having like just a hard end, thinking it was really weird and like modern and pioneering. And now all songs seem to just have an end. They just end. But for a longer period of our childhood, songs didn't end. They just faded away. So my question is, do you know why that changed? And secondly, what do you think about podcasts fading out?
This is a wonderful idea. What a great observation. It is true, and I'm always conscious of it because I assume it's the choice of the producer, and it has to do with trends and probably commercial trends associated with the radio and airplay on the radio and so forth. Announcers would come in and talk over the end of songs. Remember that was a trend? And they'd talk over the beginning, like here's the new song by Bon Jovi, and the song's already playing, which was so frustrating for those of us.
So you had to have a longer intro then as well.
Yeah. That was always frustrating for those of us sitting at home with a cassette, trying to record the song for our own collection.
Off the radio,
instead of buying it. But yeah, so I think it's something associated with that. It would fade out and that helped the DJs and go into another song, the talking. But you're right. There's perhaps the turn towards authenticity, more sort of authentic music at the start of the 90s with grunge era sort of wants, the notion of a song as its own entity was
and not a third party slowly turning a dial down on you.
Yeah. It feels more like it's a self-evident thing or a complete thing in itself as an authentic article. That might be the reason why it is. But I don't know, but I love the idea of the podcast, the fade out.
Well, maybe that's what we'll do here. As Tim and I talk you out, of today's episode. Things are going to gradually get quieter and quieter and quieter.
Can I say, while that's happening, if people can still hear me, I've always been proud of the fact that our podcast starts straight away. Too many podcasts have all this talk at the beginning and throat clearing. Don't you reckon? Of like, well, here we are, and today we're going to be talking.